I wanted to talk about getting back to basics. So we're going to do sadhana and what that actually is, what's our goal, what we want to do, what we don't want to do, and what we have to give up, which is small self. So let's go first with the thing that everybody's attached to normally, is our narrative. So if somebody asks, who are we? We're going to say, I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm tall, I'm short, I do this, I do that, I'm married, I'm not married, I have kids, I don't have kids, I own things, I don't own things, I live this place, that place, I had this kind of a life, I had that kind of a life, I have this kind of a thing, I have that kind of a thing. That's our narrative, our story. And we all love stories, don't we?
Yes.
Unfortunately, yes. So I was thinking the other day how everybody is so concerned about their narrative and it being private and secret, and yet we're so involved with narratives, celebrity narratives. We're on Twitter and at the grocery store, where the most ridiculous points about people's lives, and that's who they are. And they actually help promote those sorts of things, a lot of them, in order to what? Gain publicity. They want to be known for their story. And we eat it up. We read magazines, all the about, oh, what's this person doing? And he got a divorce? They're no longer together? Who cared in the first place? Is it impacting on our lives? Not at all. But we love the story. And yet our story, what our story is special, secret, we don't want anyone to know it, all that sort of thing. That's when we start. And where we've been moving is to what about our story? What about our narrative at this point? Do you care about it?
To move away from it.
To move away from it.
Become non-attached to it.
Yes.
You still have to live it, but...
You have to still live the character, but you need to know you're the actor, not the character you're playing. That's a big beginning piece for everybody in sadhana. We have to know that we're the actor, not the character we're playing. So, I played this part 2 months ago, and the movie is now out. It's 2 hours long. Everybody's seeing it. Am I still playing that character? Hopefully not. When they say cut in the film, do I then keep in character? Hopefully not. Hopefully not. And yet we tend to keep in character. Because we identify our job is to let go of our character, know we're the actor, and actually laugh about the part we're playing. Think about it. It's pretty funny. It is pretty funny.
Well, if you were to watch someone else playing your character, there's so many times when you'd be like, I can't believe they did that. That was the most ridiculous thing, which allows you to be able to laugh, but only if you can step outside long enough to see that it's... That
is a good point. Yeah. If John was playing me...
Why is that funny?
But think of it, or someone else, Nancy or Claire, somebody else playing the part. Yeah. I actually said that.
Yeah. Well, we do it all the time. I mean, you look at your past and you say, I can't believe I did that.
Right.
If you don't, either you think it's funny or you beat yourself up about it. But we do look back on like it's another person who did that.
Exactly. So our job is to be able to go, all this is the character I play, and what's the purpose of, where am I supposed to be? Where am I supposed to be living? In my true self, back to God, so that I enliven the part, and that each of us enlivens the part that we're playing. And then what happens? Then what is this? It's a great game. What?
Playground.
It's a playground. It's a great, great, joyous game we're playing. It goes back to the story Bobby used to say about the Lord's Club. If we're all members of the Lord's Club, and we all go, and so somebody's got to be the janitor, somebody's got to be the doorman, somebody's got to be the president. And so we then pick lots every week or every month. And so one person is the janitor, one person's the doorman, one person's the cook. I'll play a good cook. One person's the secretary, one person's the president. And everybody treats everybody with respect and equally because we're all lords. And that is the way it is. If we were all to live like that, it would actually be. And does that mean then we have to treat each other equally? So I don't have to show respect to the person who's the president? No, I have to do that. And the president knows that that's because of his role, not because of him. That we're equal in the best sense of the word. Not because our small selves are equal. We have to give up that small self. I don't want to be equal with your small self. I want to get rid of my small self. So, what's the practice? What is the sadhana then?
To not be glommed on and identified with the small self.
Absolutely. That's it. So we let go of the small self. Then what?
We have to go to the true self.
We have, absolutely. So we can look at it as turning around and going to. Or we can, if we're already there, we withdraw out of. You withdraw out of that small self, out of false identification, back to who we really are. So as you're sitting here, all thought form, out of it. Are you your thoughts?
Nope.
Are you your personality? I heard some yeses in there, but it's a no. Are you your emotions? Heard some yeses, but the truth is it's a no. Energy. Lots of people will go, oh, I'm not this, I'm not my body, I'm not this, I'm not that, but they're their energy. And a lot of the whole thing of the New Age thing is we're all we're energy. Are we energy? Mm-hmm. No. Why not? We can perceive it. It's not us. If we can perceive it, it cannot be us. If we can perceive it, it cannot be us. So you let go of the energy. Let go of all qualities. All of them. Are you anything to do with matter? Material? No.
Not really.
No. So is energy matter? Are all our vibrations matter? So no matter how subtle, our job is to go back and still. And still. Then do we become blobs? What happens?
Clear, and it's not, when you think of, when I think of a blob, it's almost lifeless and boring. but it's not lifeless at all.
Mhm. Blob would be inert, which would then would have to have what? A vibration. So you would be actually still in matter.
Can you conceive it as sort of God's purpose then sort of shining through?
Yes, absolutely, 100%, yes. So what is consciousness? Consciousness is the light. That's what we become. Sat Chit Ananda, truth, consciousness, and bliss. So that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Who we are in truth is that God's consciousness shines through. And so what does it enliven? Then, what is it actually enlivening? The character we play. It enlivens our character. We're puppets. It enlivens the character as long as we're identified. If we're no longer identified, then we play the part knowingly that we're supposed to play. Does that make sense? Take the sting out of being who we are.
But this unattached business, it's a really tough one. I mean, because the first thing always comes from my unattached, boring. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yes.
it's really a hard one to fight through and even understand.
Absolutely, because that's why I keep saying now, it's not just letting go. You have to go to. And what do you go to? You're going to pure subject with no object, which will be love. But then who wants love? What
I'm
is this?
afraid I'll be a zombie.
That's
Not
right.
a blob, but zombie comes
Zombie.
to mind.
Yeah, but that's exactly it. It's zombies. It's the same sort of thing. So, has anybody seen, people have seen videos of Baba. Was he a zombie? No. Not at all. But you're going to be the exception. That's usually what happens. The small self is going to say, that's just what he did. What's going to happen to you is you're going to be a zombie. Don't do it. Why? Who wants to stay alive? Small self. And who has given it life?
I would say really the true self.
Yes.
Everything
Every
comes from the
comes- That's right. So we enliven it, it becomes alive, and then we forget where the initial electricity came from, where it actually became. It's again back to who we truly are is the sun, but we've now convinced ourselves we're the moon. And the moon thinks it's self-illuminative, but where does it get its light? Sun. And that's what happens. So the moon's going to say, oh gosh, if you let go, I'm everything. All of life is about, keeping me and doing and everything. And so if you give up me, it's not going to be that you're going to be the sun, which is so much lighter and the originator of the moon's light. You're going to die. Disappear, you're going to be a blob, you're going to be a zombie, you're going to be something like that. It's going to be awful.
Well, for me, the irony is coming from Tomasic, I'm worried about unattached being dull.
That is
You know,
a
that's
little,
kind of ridiculous.
It is a little ridiculous. It is, I have to say.
It is.
It is. So you're going to go back to the way you were,
Yeah.
that you worked hard to become
Yeah.
in the first place.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know, it's stupid.
But that is,
That's the way
and
we think.
that's the way we think.
But that's
And-
a good example of him laughing at his narrative.
Exactly.
That's a good, yeah.
Well, it took a long time to be able to laugh. Really.
It takes us all
No, because
a
one
long
of the
time.
reasons I came here is I was just so bored with myself.
And it really is. It is that thing of we have to get so sick of the character that we're
Right.
playing. I mean, think of it. You're in a soap opera, and one day lasts an entire year. You bored? Yes. And we get really, really bored. There's got to be something else. And that's what we have to add. How many people knew that there was something else? Or hoped there was something else? Yeah. That's the point. And the whole thing of we're going home, and why I said in my book it's called Walking Home with Baba. What does home mean? We're going back to where we already were there once. We're going home again. It isn't that we didn't know, we don't know it. It's we do know it, and we have to remember it. I got myself caught up in a character into a part, and I've got to go home. And how do we go home? We have to disentangle. So, and on the physical plane, let's say I'm at a grocery store and I need to go home. What do I have to do? It's real simple, just simple. What do I have to do? I'm at the grocery store and I want to go home.
You have to know the directions home.
I have to know the directions home, and what else?
You have to leave the grocery store.
I have to leave the grocery store. It's that simple. I have to leave the grocery store. And that's what we have to do. We have to leave our small self. And then know the directions on how to go home. Where are we going?
To the heart.
To the heart. Where's the heart? I don't know. Where's the heart? Is it, if we cut me open, are we going to find my heart? No. We're going to find my physical heart, but we're not going to find the heart. So where's the heart? Yeah.
Well, you can use the heart though as like a map. The physical body is a map.
Okay.
So you put your concentration in the center of your chest,
Okay.
and you let go of all vibrations. You go into that.
You keep on going in. Okay? Yep. Yep. Has everybody here experienced love?
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you experienced anger?
Yes.
That was an easier one. Hurt.
Yes.
Sadness.
Yes.
Okay. Where'd you experience it in your body? Was it in your head?
No, it wasn't.
Was it on your elbow?
No.
I feel bad for you. We don't do that.
Well, hurt maybe.
Right, pain.
Pain.
Yeah.
Do we ever say, I love you? We don't do it. So what is it? What is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
You feel it in the center of your chest.
In the center of your chest. Center of your chest. So that's a clue. So if, as Kathy said, God's consciousness is coming through, what are those feelings? Where did they come from? God. So we're heading back. Where do we, looking for the portal, where do we head to? Right there. That's the clue. That's the clue.
Which doesn't have anything to do with.
There's nothing to do with the head. So again, we have to give up the thought forms. Because if I'm caught up in my thought forms, how far out am I?
Pretty far.
Pretty far. So our job is to let go of the thought forms, disentangle out, go in, feel those, whatever the vibration is. I feel nothing. Is that a vibration? It's inertia. It is a vibration. I numb. Is that a vibration?
Yes.
Yeah. So you feel the vibration. You feel the vibration. You shine the light. Then what happens? What happens to the vibrations?
If it dries up, it like disappears. It's like putting, like you said, a light. It's like the sun just like, dries up the fog. It just dissipates.
Then what happens?
It's quiet.
Quiet. Are you a blob? Are you a zombie?
No.
Keep going. Just let yourself feel it. Let go of thoughts. Let go of emotion, personality, body, energy. Let go. Now,
It's okay.
ooh, sorry, excuse me. It's just okay.
Just okay.
It's just okay. Not bad in there. And yet we avoid it. The answer is
God, yes.
the answer is to go in, to turn around and go in. What does the small self think it's going to get? What does it want?
Oh,
Power. Does it want love?
no.
Does it know what love is?
Mhm.
Does it think it knows?
Yeah.
Yes. And what is it? Under the word love, what is it there? Power. It would be the definition of power. You understand? There's such a difference between power and love. And if you have power, that makes you also powerless. If you have love, you have everything. Feel the difference? Questions? Yeah.
You said, you've always said if you can perceive it, it's not you. So if you have an experience where your true self is connecting with someone else's true self, you're not going to be perceiving anything. It's just...
You're just being.
Okay.
There's going to be a sense of being. You're just going to... And then, in order to speak, you stay there. And you are there. And you enliven the words to be able to say. And so your words will be coming from there. And there'll be love. Even if you have to yell at the person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Whereas if we're small self to small self,
There's lots of mixed messages and
confusion and I want to be in control. I want the power. No, I want the power. No, I want the power. No, I want the power.
that's
It's
not
that
what I
whole
meant.
thing. It's the whole conflict dialogue
Dialogue.
that
Exactly.
we talked about last week. It is that.
It is totally that.
Totally that.
And I know I'm right and you're wrong.
Mhm.
I'm protecting myself and you're aggressing. And when you may think I'm aggressing, but I'm actually just proactive. Yeah, yeah. Speaking of which, I have copies, people. They want. David, you had a question that I forget what it was, that somebody had asked.
Yeah, a guy I was talking to asked we were talking about what the actual moment-to-moment practice is, and he asked, how do you know whether you're in your heart or in your head thinking about your heart or looking at your heart.
Okay. What's the difference?
Well, there's a lot of vibration happening when you're thinking about your heart. You like feel you.
It's almost like you're judgmental.
Right. It's
Yeah.
all ideas.
Right.
We're doing
Yeah,
ideas.
it's-
I'm
and
being
you're-
an idealist. So right now, before we go any further, and then I'll listen. Do they think you're in your heart? Okay, that's done. Now, let go and actually go into the heart. Difference?
It just, when you're thinking about it, you're up here. There's just, you're thinking, and it's in a different place. It's
Totally different. Yeah, it's a totally different place.
There's no push-pull, and there's no sort of confusing it with thought or emotions. Because I think some people tend to get a little tangled in what they're thinking, and some people tend to get tangled in what they're feeling. But it's very quiet, and it doesn't have either of those things.
Right. You're not getting into the
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, go ahead.
It reminds me a little bit of being trapped in the seed,
Mm-hmm.
because like when you're in the seed, you don't really want to hear what your true answer is,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a lot of like white noise. It's not necessarily even like audible. I mean, sometimes it is into like a specific word
Mm-hmm.
or words, and then so if you're thinking about the heart, it's kind of the same thing, because when you're getting caught in the seed there, because it's really, if you're really committed to it, you can't hear,
Mm-hmm.
but it almost, I would say it tricks you
Mm-hmm.
into thinking that it is the heart, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not, and I think with some of that comes like experience.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the experience of being in your heart, just like what you just did,
Mm-hmm.
experience of being in your head, and then experience being in your heart, then you'll be able to distinguish the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of the same thing with the seed that way, because it's it tricks you into thinking that, oh, I really do believe this.
All right, I'm
Necessarily.
sure. Or yeah, idealism looks so good, and so if I think the heart, and I think only good thoughts, then I can believe that's where I am. And is there any difference, truth, between thinking good thoughts and thinking bad thoughts?
No, because pleasure and pain both lead to pain.
They both, that's right. They're both thoughts. So if I think of myself as a good person, am I going to be doing actions that aren't good?
Mm-hmm.
If I think of myself as a bad person, am I going to be doing actions that are actually good, but I won't even be aware of them?
Yeah.
Yes. But I'm so sure, and on both sides I'm so sure. So if I think I'm in my heart, it's just an idea. It's just a thought form. And so I can convince, back to the narrative, I now have a nice narrative about being in the heart. Yeah.
That's the thing, is that when you think about being in your heart, you're still so attached to adjectives,
Mm-hmm.
like calm and happy, and like things like that. But you're very like, it's an absolute attachment. Oh, this is a great place to be, and Whereas when you're already in the place,
There isn't, it's not
it's
even there.
not, there's nothing. I mean, you can know that, yeah, I'm tired,
Mhm.
okay?
My physical body is tired.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Doesn't intellect still play an important role? Because that's like a first step in a lot of these things. Being reflective,
Yes.
that's an intellect. So,
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
it's to me, it's a good question.
Yes. It is a good
That's a
question.
good question.
I can't hear some of the answers there, but I
Okay.
can listen to them when I listen to the
Yeah.
recording later on. Are you indicating there that the heart is beyond thought? That you know that you're not in the heart when thoughts arise? Or
Yes, because what's happening is you are not using the other vehicles. You're just resting. You know, in order to do thought, what do you have to use? You have to be using your other vehicles. You have to be using you're using your intellect, you're using other vehicles. It will be quiet, it will be still. Now, can you be in your heart and feel other things? Yes. That means not necessarily, that means that you're not we're not 100% pure, right? We're not the clean crystal. So that what happens is we'll feel other things, like where does anger come from? Everything, where did Christ say everything came from? The heart. Everything comes out of the heart. So everything comes out. But if we return and we're resting, so you can be letting go and going into the heart, but you're then resting in anger or anguish or any other feeling, but you can be you'd just be there. You wouldn't be thinking the thoughts. If you start to think your thoughts, have you left your heart?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you want to still and keep stilling and keep stilling and still all vibrations. And then once you're able to rest from that spot, so it's going to immanent, then you can move to transcendent. And then you can also enliven all your other vehicles and use them as your true heart would want to use them. Does that make sense?
but it sounds more authentic anyway.
Yes. If, let's say, we've been talking about vitalism from Evelyn Underhill. And that chapter, we finished it, thank goodness. And the people that developed that idea of that everything was vital, what happened was it answered, and it was able to be used and made sense for a lot of different categories of the material world. It made sense. So from a certain place, so you could have one theory and it only makes sense it only makes sense to one or two different areas of life. And then you go down and we get to vitalism, and it made sense to several different places in science and psychology and all these different areas of life. It made sense, except for what was the problem. Remember?
Well, it was only about activity.
Activity. Everything was active. Always active. Everything's active. All the time. All the time. All the time. So think of it. You're going to be active all the time. All the time. What are you dying to do now? Rest. And so she was saying that the mystics and the whole understanding is be still, be still. Okay? And rest. So there are two sides. We're going to have the active and the still. And so the active made sense for a certain area of the, but it doesn't answer everything. If you have a sense of an understanding of the whole universe is both active and still, or resting, now have we just covered everything? You can cover it. If we were to say all of the world is and all of the universe is about rest, would that be the answer? No. No. And so it's both and. But we tend to get caught up, and that's why we think we're going to be blobs or zombies, that when we go to rest and still, we're just going to be Judd and sleeping. And no, we're going to be sattvic. And there are times that if we use sattva, then we have brilliance, we have light. And you use rajas with, activity with light, your action is going to be done in a way that's completely appropriate, completely clear and clean. If I am hanging out in inertia and activity, I'm going to be doing pain and hurt and sorrow. So real rest, because inertia is not about rest, real rest happens in sattva. And if we do them both, then we have completion. So it's unity and diversity. We have the sense of unity underneath, and we have the activity, the diversity, all happening. But underneath it all, and as we practice more, we can see the unity sitting there. Does that make sense? So it's not, so answering it so sitting in the heart, we're resting. And then if we're going to be playing our part, we want to be both and. We want to be both and. We want to be in the heart and able to enliven our vehicles at the same time.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So you mentioned, that real rest happens actually in the sattvic. I always say you also have to give that sattvic up. I always have trouble understanding that. I never.
Okay.
Not that I've even gotten there, but I have to get a little more.
Okay, sure. All right. How many people want to hang out in inertia? Okay, no. How many people always want to be rajasic? Okay, no. You like it.
I like it better. I want to spend more time there than the other.
More than, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay, now sattvic. What's sattvic? Sattvic is clear, clean, bright, completely seeing pure. You can see clearly. So you assess everything appropriately. There is a hook to it, because what is it? Is it still a vibration?
Mm-hmm.
There's still a vibration. No matter how clean it is, it's still a vibration. It's still a manifestation. It's still happening. So eventually, we have to give up that. How many people like bliss? You don't like it? You like bliss? You like bliss. Okay. I hope we like bliss. Okay. It is supposed to be our nature.
We're hard to please.
We're definitely hard to please. And do we want to be who we really are? No. So love, bliss, is our true nature. So if we think in terms of what we were doing with Samprajñata Samadhi last week, okay, the third level was Ananda, right? Samadhi. And what do we then experience? Bliss. Bliss completely all the time. Our entire filling of our body and everything with bliss. right?
Right.
It's not just immanent, it's transcendent. It's just all bliss. And then what do you have to do with it?
Let go of that.
You have to let go of that. Why?
Still a vibration.
It's still a vibration, and it's still an object. Sattvic is still an object, it's a guna. So what do you do from going from that bliss? You go back. The pure eye. You go, who's the witness? Who's the witness of that bliss? Oh, I am. Not I am. I am. I am. So then we get to that. And does it mean we then don't have bliss? No, it means we're no longer attached to it. So then we're sitting in the pure I am, which is ultimate, would be sattvic, complete sattvic, right? And then what do you have to do?
Let go of that.
Let go of that. So there's no object. And that's the point, Ina, that's the point. You have to let go. It's an object. But let's get there so that then we can discuss letting it go then. It's like, it's all abstract.
Right. I think I'm still at the place that if I even, not that I've even gotten there, but if I even get to that place, I'd have to think to let it go. And then I guess that puts me back into thinking and not...
Right, you'd have to, that's exactly
so
right.
I haven't experienced it yet to be able to get there. I'm just trying to understand. That's all.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing is, you know how I do the thing with the book, or these guys, where this is me. Oh, no, I can perceive it. No, this is me. No, I can perceive this. So we're tracing ourselves back. At each step of the practice, we're going to be tracing ourselves back. Oh, I thought this was me. I thought I was energy. I'm not energy. I thought I was good thoughts. Oh, I'm not good thoughts. It's not who I am. I thought I was this. I thought I was that. So at each step, we're going to be letting go of who we think we are. Yeah.
In a way, doesn't that relate to the question that David had asked too? Sometimes you're practicing and then you get to a further place and you learn how to practice more, so you're
Yes.
deeper in.
You go deeper. Yes. And that does answer that, because first you're going to have to understand the concept of heart. So I'm thinking about it, but I'm not in it, but I think about it. And so again, we have to know where we actually are. So if I think I am my true self, then I am not. I'm going to be able to perceive that thought form. Thinking, thought forms are thought forms. They are objects. Let go of the letters. The Matrika Shakti, the power inherent in letters. Actually, if we understand the power inherent in letters, we have some power. We actually have the awareness and we can control. But otherwise, it controls us. So, I think I am a good person completely controls me.
So how do you let go at that level without the letters to tell you to do it? Go beyond.
Okay. All right, that's a good question. As you've been practicing, so you start at the first level and
Right.
you let go of the letters. What do you do to let go of the letters? This is what we're talking and this is absolutely what we've been talking about, is learning how to separate out exactly the activity.
So it sort of just pushes you forward, I guess. Like a rocket going up, it kind of lets go of that stage.
Exactly. You
And
keep
you
on
push
letting
through it.
through it. So you keep on.
So you don't have to decide, oh, I'm going to let go. You don't make that decision.
No, you are actually constantly doing that process. right now, like
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
like what you're doing right now, and keep going. There you go.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
Are we moving beyond morality then?
Yeah. Well, yes. Yes, in the sense of actively being good.
Totally.
How?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yes.
But that's a bit scary too in itself, isn't it?
Well, if at a certain point, and this is where the whole thing of if you're caught up still in your head, then the issue of morality is an issue. If you're actually let go and you know that whatever's out there is actually you, and if it's all just us, will we do anything to hurt each other? No.
No.
So it would all disappear. There wouldn't be an issue of the dichotomy of good and bad.
Okay, so we have to have morality because we live in our heads. If we
Yes,
went deeper,
yes, 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 yes. We need to have rules. We need to have, because we're so, I'm going to say it, and it's on tape, we're so stupid. We're so stupid, we need to have those rules. And once we have let go, and we know that all of this is just us. It's just us. So why would I want to hurt me? And why would me want to hurt me? It's just us. And so that then we all want what's absolutely best for each other in the truest sense of the word. So we wouldn't have the mortgage bankruptcy, that horrible thing with the bad mortgages and all that sort of thing. That wouldn't occur. We wouldn't have to regulate all those sorts of things. If each of us, we wouldn't have the Rwandas and the Sierra Leone and all that. We wouldn't have that. But then the game would be over.